The distant planet of Zorath was a desolate wasteland, its crimson skies streaked with ash and its jagged terrain littered with the remnants of ancient civilizations. It was here, amidst the ruins of a forgotten world, that Corporal Marcus Hale found himself stationed as part of a human expeditionary force. The mission was simple: establish diplomatic relations with the Zorathians, a reclusive alien species known for their advanced technology and deep mistrust of outsiders. But diplomacy was far from Marcus's mind as he trudged through the barren landscape, his boots crunching against the brittle ground. The Zorathians had been anything but welcoming, and the mission had quickly devolved into a tense standoff. The humans were outnumbered, outgunned, and running out of time. It was during one of these tense patrols that Marcus stumbled upon her. She was lying in a shallow crater, her silver skin glistening under the dim light of Zorath's twin suns. Her long, flowing hair was the color of starlight, and her delicate features were twisted in pain. Marcus hesitated, his training screaming at him to stay back. The Zorathians were dangerous, unpredictable. But as he watched her struggle to breathe, something inside him stirred. He couldn't just leave her. Cautiously, Marcus approached, his rifle slung over his shoulder. Up close, he could see the extent of her injuries. Her side was torn open, a deep gash oozing a faintly glowing liquid that he assumed was her blood. Her eyes, a striking shade of violet, flickered open as he knelt beside her. "Please," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "Help me." Marcus didn't know what to do. He wasn't a medic, and he had no idea how to treat an alien wound. But as he looked into her eyes, he saw something that made his decision for him. Fear. Pain. And something else, hope. Without thinking, he reached for the medkit on his belt. The supplies inside were designed for humans, but he had to try. He cleaned the wound as best he could, applying a makeshift bandage to stem the flow of her glowing blood. But it wasn't enough. She was losing too much, too fast. And then it hit him. Their blood. It was different, but maybe, just maybe. Marcus had heard stories of humans and aliens sharing blood in dire situations. It was a long shot, but it was the only shot he had. He quickly sterilized a syringe and drew a small amount of his own blood. Holding his breath, he injected it into her arm. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, slowly, the glow of her wound began to dim. Her breathing steadied, and the color returned to her cheeks. She looked up at him, her violet eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered. Marcus nodded, relief washing over him. But his relief was short-lived. The sound of approaching footsteps made him freeze. He turned, his hand instinctively reaching for his rifle, but it was too late. A group of Zorathian warriors emerged from the shadows, their weapons trained on him. Marcus raised his hands, his heart pounding. This was it. He was going to die here, on this godforsaken planet, for saving one of their own. But as the warriors closed in, the woman he had saved raised her hand. "Stop," she commanded, her voice strong despite her injuries. "This human, he saved my life. He is not our enemy." The warriors hesitated, their weapons still raised. One of them, a tall figure with a scar running down his face, stepped forward. "Are you certain, Lyra?" She nodded. "I am." "Lower your weapons." Reluctantly, the warriors obeyed. The scarred Zorathian approached Marcus, his eyes narrowing as he studied him. "You are either very brave or very foolish, human," he said. "But you have earned our gratitude. Come. We will take you to our city." Marcus didn't argue. He helped Lyra to her feet, supporting her as they followed the warriors through the rugged terrain. As they walked, he couldn't help but wonder what awaited him in the Zorathian city. Would they honor him for his actions, or was this just a ploy to lure him into a trap? The city, when they reached it, was unlike anything Marcus had ever seen. Towering spires of crystal and metal rose into the sky, their surfaces shimmering with an otherworldly light. The streets were alive with activity, Zorathians of all shapes and sizes going about their daily lives. But as Marcus and his escort passed, the city seemed to hold its breath. All eyes were on him. They were led to a grand hall at the center of the city, where a council of Zorathian elders awaited. Lyra was taken to a healer, leaving Marcus alone before the council. The scarred warrior who had escorted him stepped forward. "This human," he said, addressing the council, "saved Lyra's life. He gave his own blood to heal her." The elders murmured amongst themselves, their expressions unreadable. Finally, the eldest of them, a wizened figure with eyes that seemed to pierce through Marcus's very soul, spoke. "Human," he said, his voice echoing through the hall. "You have done a great deed this day. You have shown us that not all humans are driven by greed and violence. For this, we are in your debt." Marcus swallowed hard, unsure of how to respond. I just did what I thought was right," he said. The elder nodded. "And it is for that reason that we shall reward you. But know this, human, our gratitude is not easily earned, nor is it lightly given. You have proven yourself worthy of our trust. In return, we shall grant you a gift, one that will change the course of your life forever." Before Marcus could ask what the elder meant, the scarred warrior stepped forward once more. In his hands, he held a small, ornate box. He opened it, revealing a shimmering crystal that pulsed with a soft, golden light. "This," the warrior said, "is the Heart of Zorath. It is the source of our power, our knowledge, and our strength. With it, you will be able to see the universe as we do, to understand its secrets, to harness its energy. But be warned, such power comes with great responsibility. Use it wisely." Marcus stared at the crystal, his mind reeling. This was more than he had ever imagined. But as he reached out to take it, he felt a sense of calm wash over him. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew one thing for certain: he had made the right choice. As he left the hall, the crystal safely tucked away in his pack, Marcus couldn't help but smile. He had come to Zorath as a soldier, but he was leaving as something more. A hero. A bridge between two worlds. And as he looked up at the crimson sky, he knew that his journey was only just beginning.